Rush has been making headlines recently for his backstage etiquette and general issues with the WWE. The man of the hour thinks very highly of himself backstage, and has made it very clear to the WWE higher-ups that he should be the top guy.
You serious?
However, his confidence, as well as many other issues, have rubbed WWE officials the wrong way, as Rush was taken off TV. Lio Rush first garnered heat when he refused to carry water bottles and drinks as a junior member of the roster during the 2018 European Tour, which is standard WWE etiquette to show respect to the locker room and to the business as a whole. On another occasion, multiple complaints were made when Rush brought his wife backstage and allowed her to change in the women's locker room. Although Finn Balor tried explaining to Rush how this was frowned upon, the 24-year-old piece of gold had no interest in listening to his advice. I'm surprised Finn even bothered after getting cock-blocked by Lio Rush.
I'll show you.
Go away, Leo! Go away! You ruined it!
As well as this, the man of the hour brought up issues such as not making enough money to support his family, not being paid for merchandise that uses his catchphrase, and not being paid what he feels he's worth, as Rush reportedly turned down a new 5-year deal making $300,000 a year and asked for double that figure instead. As of now, Lio Rush has removed WWE from all social media accounts, so a push, or even a return at this stage, seems virtually impossible. Where do I even begin with EC3? He is being booked so badly that his WWE career is being buried even before it has started. If you've been following EC3's career on Impact Wrestling, then you'll know why he is known as the top 1%. EC3 is a prime example of no matter how hard you train, how good your promo skills are, how good you might be in the ring, if Vince loses interest in you, then you can forget about any sort of push, let alone making it on TV. A good example of this happening is Mojo Rawley. You remember that guy?
Hello, my old chum!
EC3 made his official Raw debut appearing on A Moment of Bliss, where he was exposed to some sultry comments.
And from what I've heard, you have a very large bank account, which makes you a hot commodity.
As well as not being able to get a word in edgeways.
Who are you? What does EC3 mean? Where are EC1 and 2?
In terms of momentum, EC3 did pick up a win against Dean Ambrose via a jackknife pin, but lost the following week to Ambrose via an inside cradle pin, and then he got completely buried by Braun Strowman a month later, for no apparent reason. Now, all we see of EC3 is ridiculous backstage appearances and funny memes. That I can deal with. We all love a good meme. It was reported that Vince McMahon is not a fan of EC3, and does not see anything for him right now. EC3's reply to WWE wishing him a happy birthday on Twitter pretty much sums up his WWE experience. If you have been watching Raw for the past few weeks, then you might have noticed how the WWE have turned the Revival into one big running joke. Or, for better context, rolling.
What's going on?
There is a reason for the Revival's decline, from once being known as the Raw Tag Team Champions to now a laughingstock. And that's all down to one man. I bet you'll never guess who it is. Okay, it's pretty obvious. It's Vince McMahon. It's obviously Vince McMahon. It was reported that Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson turned down 5-year contracts at $500,000 per year, which seemingly ticked off Vince McMahon. Consequently, the chairman extended the Revival's contract by 2 months, as well as publicly humiliating the top guys, as seen with their storyline with the Usos. Which was only done because Vince thought it would be funny. According to Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, he pretty much confirmed how Vince McMahon was punishing the Revival for turning down his offer. As Meltzer said the following, "It's trying to make this reference like they're these two gay guys." That's the reference. They can't say that, but that's the thing they want you to think. And then Dawson comes out that we're real men and all that. So, that was like the idea. I think that was the idea of the segment to begin with. To kill them. Seems like petty behaviour from Vince if you ask me. You would think standing at 6'8" and having the nickname the Monster Among Men would surely attract the attention of Vince McMahon, and you would be right. But in Braun Strowman's case, he is his own worst enemy. There have been many reports of Vince McMahon being ready to make Braun Strowman the top guy in the WWE. However, issues behind the scenes, such as the way Braun Strowman carries himself backstage, his punctuality, and forgetting his WrestleMania 35 spot, which ended up hurting Luke Harper and Ali, have all been his downfall to why Vince has been reluctant to give the Monster Among Men that big push. Destroying Vince's limo probably didn't help either.
Are you kidding me?
Instead, Vince McMahon sees Braun Strowman as a walking mascot, rather than as a top guy, which could be the reason why Strowman has had a lack of championship opportunities. More recently, well-respected wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer noted that Strowman is wrestling injured, as he is dealing with either a biceps or a triceps injury, which unfortunately makes any sort of push seem very unlikely. Andrade has had a bit of a rollercoaster these past few weeks after joining the Red brand as part of the Superstar shakeup, to only be put back on SmackDown due to Fox wanting bigger Hispanic superstars to spotlight on the Blue brand as part of their Spanish language station, Fox Deportes. According to, you guessed it, good old Dave Meltzer, Andrade is pretty much universally loved by live event producers and talent, and has even got the chairman Vincent Kennedy McMahon thinking highly of him. But there is one thing that's holding him back, and that's his English skills. Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura could help him out.
No speak English.
According to PW Torch, Andrade went into Vince McMahon's office asking for a bigger push, to which Vince bluntly replied with, "Learn some English and get back to me." Andrade reportedly has an English tutor that has been helping him with his promos, which has shown as his English has notably improved since he first joined the company back in 2015. Hopefully this means better things to come for Andrade, and who knows, maybe he might even get that big push he was asking for.